Hey guys, thank you. I'm trying to figure out times, which one works best. So we'll see how this goes. Because like I said in an earlier post, Struggle 2.0 is here, so we gotta make time. See which time works best, and we'll stick with that. All right, thank you everybody. Thanks wherever you are. The molbe kontona. And always shoot all on sign until if it was so. You have to call all that long way follow. Goes to show people are available anytime. So let's do this. We'll see which one works best either today or we'll be back Saturday also, inshallah, which is our usual time, to see if we can stick with that or stick with this. But Barrow needs to be tackled. That's essentially what the whole point is. What Adam Barrow is doing is valid and bad. Barrow has essentially declared war on the freedoms of Gambians, and it's up to us whether we stand up to him or we just let him do whatever he wants. That man lives in the 5th century. The way he thinks, you know, I'll come on my horse, like the man is, I don't know, I pity Barrow. I pity him. You'll have to find someone and I guess somebody said the only thing we don't learn from history is that we don't learn from history. And that's especially true for people like Barrow. You want to be like Yaya Jammeh, you're going to end up like him. It's as simple as that. So his main target, which is the UDP, has officially put out a statement, and we're satisfied with that. That's what maturity is. That's what leadership is. He says he has wisdom, but that's what wisdom is. You know, measured, direct, to the point, and lays out the facts. Essentially, what Barrow is trying to do is, there are 19 opposition parties in the Gambia, but Molko UDP the Malamoy. So at the Dino so essentially what Barrow wants is to have people sitting down, keeping quiet, saying nothing, doing nothing, and just let him have a free hand to do whatever he wants to do. That's his ideal opposition. Basically, people who are not going to say anything, wait for elections to come, and then there is fanfare everywhere. 2 weeks, 3 weeks, we cast our votes, we go sit down and let him do whatever he wants to do. You know, but like I said last week, Barrow is frustrated, completely frustrated, and he doesn't know. He knows, as a former member of the UDP, that UDP always has a hand to play. Barrow knows that for a fact. UDP always has a hand to play. And what's killing him now is he doesn't know what hand UDP is going to play next. So that's what all this provocation is about. That's all these tantrums that he's throwing like a 5-year-old. That's what it's all about. He just doesn't know which direction to go or how to handle his biggest headache, which is UDP. Can you imagine, like just recently, very young people, civil servants, got killed for nothing other than doing their job. What that points to is the fact that the Gambia security situation is in very, very, very bad state. Everyone is scared in that country. Scared to, you know, leave your house empty with nobody there, you know, even to go to a function. Scared to go to certain places at certain times of the night. Scared to be in a taxi because you don't know who the taxi driver. People are just literally scared in their own country. And it's even worse when police officers who are supposed to secure the country are being targeted and killed on our streets. So you would think that a president who is worth his salt, whenever he mounts a podium, he will use that opportunity to reassure the citizens that the security situation in the country is concerning to you, but here is what my government is doing, X, Y, and Z, to be able to address these security concerns so that you can live in peace. We will go after these criminals. Even Yahya Jammeh, with all his craziness, I hate to compare anything to Yahya Jammeh because to me, my book, he's in the black book and that's it. It doesn't matter what good he did. It was all overshadowed by his killing of people, his rape and torture of people. That is, you know, that cancels out every good he did. But when he launched Operation Bulldozer, just to give an example, that was kind of a reassurance to the citizens. Yahya Jammeh is ready now. Even though he is doing it using force, not using the law, which is why I will not use it as a good example. But in a way, it gives reassurance to Gambians. But this is another proof that Barrow cares for nothing, absolutely nothing, other than what he can get out of this position of being president. That's all he cares about. That is why he is targeting people, the opposition, which is the UDP. But he told us before he became president, many are going to traffico balanajan to everyday sabar campaign bambali rally bambali traffico block la, but niko on the second niko withdraw abandon. He told us before he became president, and he's implementing. His only problem is he's not going to be able to implement that. So essentially, the man wants a free hand to do with the Gambia's resources as he pleases. We saw, was it One Pack or whoever, a couple of days ago, talking about the situation related to drugs in the country. How can you be the president in a country with thousands of kilos of drugs, hard drugs, impounded in your country, and nobody hears anything about it? You have youths who have no opportunity in that country, no hope in that country. They will either choose to die in the Sahara Desert, choose to die in the Mediterranean Sea, be enslaved in Libya and North Africa, or go and spend the rest of, I don't know, their youth in camps in Italy and Spain. Those are their choices. Or they stay at home and indulge and try drugs. You would think that that would be a concern enough for the president of the country to address and tell the citizens what policies he's putting in place. But no. His one and only problem, and the Gambia's one and only problem, is UDP. So the battle lines are drawn. He wants to take away people's rights. He wants to be a tyrant, and we're going to treat him like the tyrant he is. And you know what he did? He gave people a heads up a long time ago. Yahya Jammeh at least was doing things underground, military government 1994 to 1996. So everything that happened around that time, including the November 11, was seen as soldiers, you know, dealing with each other, even though it was bad. 2001 came, he killed all those children. After that, I think he was scared, so he kind of calmed down a little bit until the killing of Data Hatter in 2004. But Yahya Jammeh, let's just say, you know, it was intermittent between 1994 to 2006. He became full-blown tyrant from 2006 to, you know, the next 10 years before he got kicked out of State House. So he slowly crept up to becoming a tyrant. Barrow, as unsmart as he is, declared himself a tyrant way before, arming us, preparing us, making us ready to be able to fight him back. We will throw everything that was thrown to Yahya Jammeh at him, and let's see how he can take it. He is on his dying legs, and he knows that. Because he's too focused on the UDP that he has lost support on the side of the people who would have not naturally been on his side, but they have no more excuse to be on his side, and he knows that. So he sees the end coming, and he's trying everything possible. This is basically like what we used to do, you know, tag, you are it. That's what it is. I know I'm not going to stay here, but before I go, I'm going to ruin UDP. How are you going to be able to destroy that? Barrow is not smart. This is the 21st century. And he says things that he has no idea. Like, the guy is just not smart. That's what it is. This is the 21st century. You cannot contain information. Yahya Jammeh tried it, he failed. And every single tyrant from Pharaoh to now, they never ended on their own terms. They either end dead, humiliated, or in jail like Charles Taylor is now. Or killed by the law like Saddam Hussein. Or killed on the streets by their citizens like Gaddafi, or mutilated like Nino Vieira. The list is endless. No tyrant leaves power on their own term. They always end up humiliated. Look at Yahya Jammeh. We don't even need to go to any of those countries. You think Yahya Jammeh wants to build all those mansions in Canela and go to and live in Equatorial Guinea, not able to come and attend his own mother's funeral? So he wants to be like Yaya Jammeh, we're going to treat him like Yaya Jammeh. Like I said, he gave everybody a heads up. I want to be a tyrant, so let's duke it out. It's as simple as that. Barrow declaring UDP as the greatest threat to the Gambia. In fact, he is the greatest threat to the Gambia. Because from 2016, after Yaya Jammeh was defeated, in 2017 and beyond, a lot of people, I don't support that version because, if Gambians want, they can form a party and call it 𝒂𝒊𝒏 party and then, join it. That's up to them. If people who are having the same ideas as them want to join them, let them join them. But the banning the APRC, people used to talk about it because of all the atrocities that were committed under Jammeh, and they supported and, fostered it. And then you talk about the terrorist group, which was the Green Boys or the Green Youth, because they terrorized UDP people from 1996 when they were the Green Boys or the July 22nd Youth Movement to when they became the Green Boys and Girls. So people were talking about ban them, ban them, ban them, ban them. Barrow didn't. He incorporated them into his party. Now everything he's trying to do is trying to ban the UDP. That's his ultimate goal. Gambia men APRC even ban Jodoko UDP ban Lord. He's baying for blood. It's as simple as that. It's not a threat or anything. It's just basic facts. Because he has no grounds for doing that. And when he does that, the reaction he is seeking out of the people, he will get it, and it will be ugly. So it's up to the Gambian people, because he's not going to listen to anybody that he thinks is opposition. If you want stability in your country, tell Barrow to focus on his job. The job of the opposition is to hold the government accountable. Every single action Barrow does will be scrutinized, and we will talk about it. Every single time he decides that he's going to stay quiet and not say anything that impacts the life of Gambians, we will talk about it. Every time he sleeps at a meeting, we'll talk about it. Literally anything he does, we're going to talk about it. And that's what irritates him. Barrow Dinona, so if he has his way, nobody will say anything against him. Nobody will say anything that is dissenting or opposes him or puts him in bad light, which is why he's specifically targeting two media outlets or entities, 𝒘𝒄𝒄𝒏 and 𝒂𝒐𝒊𝒏. He's targeting them, and I'll draw parallels. I made a blog post today about that. Essentially, these two radio stations or media outlets, their audience is directed towards the average Gambian. Even Gambians who went to school, university graduates, they work in offices and stuff. Maybe when they're in the office because they don't work, they literally sit there browsing Facebook, they might grab a newspaper and read it. But we are not a reading, population to a certain extent. So whatever we write in newspapers, whatever we put in, our Facebook posts, they hardly get noticed by the people that matter. So what they listen to and the medium that such information is communicated to them is relevant. Majority of Gambians belong to the Mandinka ethnic group. On top of that, a lot of Gambians, whether they are Sarahule or Jola or Fula or Walla, a lot of them speak Mandinka or at least understand it. So if you put all that together, you can say a great chunk of Gambia will understand when people speak in the Mandinka language. These two mediums, 𝒘𝒄𝒄𝒏 and 𝒂𝒐𝒊𝒏, they have two very popular programs that are conducted largely in Mandinka, which is almost, I would say, basically conducted in Mandinka, which is 𝒂𝒄𝒄𝒏 and 𝒂𝒐𝒊𝒏, the flagship program. These are well listened to programs. So drawing the parallel to that, when Yaya Jammeh decided to stifle information in the Gambia, his main target was the newspapers to start with. But he knew that that would cause unnecessary attention on him. So he bought the Observer. He basically abused Kenneth Best and, kicked him out of the country, bought the Observer and used it as his mouthpiece. So whatever is being published in other newspapers, the Observer can counter that. When he killed Data Hydro, the Point newspaper was basically self-censored. Foraya is affiliated to the PDIS. So he can make a simple argument, this is a political outfit or political news. So there was very limited newspaper, circulation in the Gambia. Jammeh knew that. So when it comes to radio stations, we had very few. It was Radio 1 FM, and when they tried to be engaged in civic education, what did? They tried to burn down the radio station. The only main critical one was independent newspaper. What happened to them? Either their journalists were tortured, like Musa Sedikan, exiled, their printing press burned down. All manner of things were done to them. The other one that was popular was Citizen FM, 𝒂𝒄𝒄𝒏𝒆𝒍 radio station. They used to have a very popular program, which was newspaper review. And the sad fact is, Ibrahim Silla was the one who used to review the newspapers in Mandinka on Citizen FM. And then he left the Gambia. Those are the people today presiding over the affairs of the Gambia and letting Barrow get away with these threats to this media. I cite Citizen FM because when they read the newspaper, they realize that this is one of the most tuned in programs in the country. People, always crave information. Always. Wherever you go in the world, people crave information. So you have these newspapers sitting there and nobody reading them. They came up with the idea, we're going to bring it into our radio station, read it out, and translate it into the local languages for the benefit of the people. That was what resulted in the shutting down of Citizen FM. Yaya Jammeh would not have that. If you want to print your newspapers, fine, but it's not going to circulate beyond, Banjul, Serakunda, maybe Brikama for a handful of people. So people would not know what's going on. Viber was shut down. Essentially their whole goal is to control information flow, which is why even young children were arrested and jailed in the Gambia. Why? Because they were subscribed to Freedom newspaper that Yaya Jammeh want to ban in the Gambia. The only thing he wants Gambians to hear was his own version of events. In that post also, I mentioned Dudu Sane, Magadu. He was a DJ at Radio Seed, but then he got a job at GRTS. So to cave to praise from the international community, the opposition were supposed to have airtime on GRTS during the campaign period of 2006. So they will all come on TV, have maybe 5-minute slots or less than that, to sell their message to the Gambian people. It was not enough, but just to give an impression to the international community that, hey, my elections are free and fair. Jammeh caved into that. So Dudu Sane was one of those reporters that was attached to the UDP to follow them around at their rallies to bring some of that message as part of that whole package. On their first leg of, you know how UDP does it. We always with a crowd. When they crossed over to Barrow and Dudu Sane was the reporter there, he was reporting on it and talking about thousands of people, or maybe I think he said hundreds of thousands of people following the UDP crowd. Yaya Jammeh did not like that. They recalled him back from there. He was arrested. He was detained at some unknown location, tortured, and then eventually he was fired from GRTS. That man never regained his health again. Why? Because Yaya Jammeh wanted to control information. So essentially the whole goal that Barrow is seeking, if there is a newspaper or a program, a radio station that is constantly finding fault with UDP, finding fault with the opposition, that would be considered friendly media. Why do they all run to coffee time? I also highlighted that I will not say Peter Gomez is affiliated to one party or the other party, but coffee time is kind of like a formal setting. They delve into issues, they address issues, but it's more of a formal setting. I ask you a question, you respond to me, maybe there'll be a little pushback, but not too much. So to them, that is enough. We're engaging the Gambian people, but how many people? I grew up in SL. I don't know about now, but then even if you wanted to tune into West Coast Radio, you have to tie, Findifero, tie it to your antenna and tie it up on a mango tree or orange tree, and you can get maybe a little bit of signal from West Coast Radio. And that's just across the river from Banjul. So how many people have access to that information? On top of that, that program is conducted in English. So the people in the largest voting bloc in the Gambia, which is Kombo Sandro, basically all the Kombos, the West Coast region, those people don't have access to that. Even if they can tune into West Coast Radio, they will not know what's going on. So that's the medium they use. And then you have Pamodu and Membekere. And then you have Kerfadu, the actual program Kerfadu, and then 𝒂𝒄𝒄𝒏. So open, so interactive, they can analyze the issues that are going on and then invite people to come and comment on those issues. This is what Barrow hates about it. I saw Fatu talking about how he's fair, how she is fair to all political parties, all, agendas, inviting them over to come to the radio. or to, 𝒘𝒄𝒄𝒏 to tell their side of the story. Barrow knows that, every Gambian knows that. The problem is affording or according their platform to people who have something to say against Barrow. I didn't know that will not happen. I don't want people coming on your platform talking bad about my government. Whenever they come on there, like say Humbalo, they get thrown around the bench when they come on the brunch. That's another program I forgot to mention. People push them all over the place because they cannot stand on any leg to defend anything. So now they start shunning them. When was the last time Ibrahim Asila and Shrek, what's his name again? Sankare. When they went to 𝒂𝒊𝒏 and they promised to be coming back, that was the last time they ever set foot there. To them, it doesn't matter. They don't think that the Gambian people deserve to hear from them. When you go to 𝒂𝒊𝒏, all the people who listen to it are opposition, so those people don't matter anymore. It's the same mentality Yahya Jammeh has, which is why he would skip Kiang whenever development comes, to the point that he would not develop that area, because why? They are opposed to me. Basically, if you don't support the government, you are not a citizen anymore. That's the reality in the Gambia, and people support that. Why? Because we have this mentality in our head that, alaleka mansa tombo. So when the president comes, everybody should just cower before him and let him walk all over you, so that you can benefit from him. That is the problem in that country. The hypocrisy is too much. But Barrow's whole entire goal, I will tell you now, is to contain the information flow, control the narrative, and he knows he has no capacity to do that. So he's provoking people to react, so that he can pounce on them and close them down. Network is not functioning, you don't want people to talk about that. There are drugs on our streets, you don't want people to talk about that. There's a high cost of living. If not for the diaspora, Gambians will be starving on the streets. You don't want people to talk about that. Women go to the hospital to die where they're supposed to be cured. You don't want people to talk about that. Everything in that country is completely stagnant. People are suffering. So if he gets called out for that, he says, oh, telling people that what is happening to you is wrong. They already know what's happening to them. The job of the opposition is to tell them now there is an alternative. If it was us in power, this is what we would do. So to him, that's, fitna kurukuro. So this is where he is at, drawing battle lines, saying UDP is a threat to peace, the greatest threat to Gambia's peace and stability. Yeah, Jammeh tried that, it didn't work. I don't know why he thinks if he tries that it's going to work. There are people in the country, UDP is kind of like, you either hate them or you love them. The middle ground, maybe there's some people in the middle ground, but that's essentially it. But the one thing he cannot do is put a lid on the UDP's activities. You can't keep people from speaking. Even hypothetically, let's say, for example, he succeeds, use some legal maneuvering and instrument to completely ban the UDP. Does that mean that people will not talk? And how are you going to contain that? This is the 21st century. Trying to contain information is not going to work. There's WhatsApp. What are you going to do? Shut down the internet in the Gambia? This medium is here, Facebook. I'm not on it, but TikTok is there. Instagram is there. YouTube is there. What are you going to do? Cut the internet off into the Gambia? Well, I guess the people who are worried about UDP destabilizing the country, maybe that time they will get up and speak because they rely on it. You shut down the internet, the banking services stop. How are you communicating with your people? You end up buying, getting money to buy credits to call your people back home. Who's going to put up with that? And Barrow is unthinking. When he speaks, he catches himself in his talks. He doesn't think about what he's going to say. He just spews it out. Maybe he goes and sits down and Dembo by said, he falls asleep and he dreams about what he said and then comes back and tries to retract it. He said, UDP, he took a swipe at Talib in there because new people came into UDP that people are embracing and he's getting jealous of that. And suddenly they are being embraced by everybody. That was a swipe. We know it, but that's by the way. But he catches himself in speech. talking about how evil the opposition is, how bad they are, how they, you know, like basically saying what Yahya Jammeh said, they oppose the president. And then after that, he realized, oh, I was actually in the opposition. That's why at his next meeting, he decided to take that back, or tried to take it back by saying, when we were there, we didn't used to insult anybody. Like the idiot opened his mouth already and said that, and now he's trying to make a distinction. You were in the opposition until you became president, and then suddenly opposition is bad. But he knows Gambian people are smart. They will catch on that. So he decided to go back and try to retract it. But it was too late. It was already said. So he has basically he declared war. So what he's going to do now is keep pushing forward with his authoritarian tendencies. You're going to jail people illegally, like you did with Barrow. Put them in places that nobody knows, which is the prelude to torture, because if you arrest somebody and you said, oh, we don't have him, that's the government's source of denying the truth. But, you know, they're so not smart that they get things wrong from the get-go, because Barrow was at the 𝒂𝒂𝒏 station, which they confirmed. So the police know where he is or who they signed him off to. Because somebody is in your custody. You either release him to go home or you sign him off to somebody else. Who did you sign him off to? Exactly. There's always an ethnic dimension to what Barrow does. You know, but when you talk about it, people, you know, start saying, oh, they're always crying victim, crying victim. Like I said at the beginning, you know, most Gambians identify with the Mandinka ethnic group. Every ethnic group you go to, because of the way our society is set up, you will not go to a village or a town and they say exclusively these are Mandinka or exclusively these are Fulao. There is always a mix. So with all that intermingling, you will find a lot of people speak or understand Mandinka, whether they belong to the ethnic group or not. So when these programs are done in those languages, their reach is greater than when you do a program in English like I am doing now. So you can throw people like Ibrahim Sankare at coffee time, and then they will throw some big words here and there and do some, you know, tactics to divert people away from the main issue, or they go off on a tangent that is unrelated just to kill time because they know they are limited on time. So once they do that, they feel like, oh, we have addressed the issue, we talk to the media, we are open to the media, but they will never go to a media house that is going to challenge them or push them or give them pushback on the issues that they're talking about. That is why they avoid all these media houses. And then now they are mad that those people are trying to reach the Gambian people to inform them about what is happening. Because you know, for example, shut down 𝒂𝒄𝒄𝒏. There's no more 𝒂𝒄𝒄𝒏𝒄𝒄. There's no more 𝒂𝒄𝒄𝒏. There's no more 𝒂𝒄𝒄𝒏𝒄𝒄 or 𝒐𝒊𝒏 Barrow. Where would those people rely on for the information that they need to get? Because it's not Radio Gambia. It's not GRTS. Those people have gone out of their way to tell you that they're only going to, you know, do what is good for the government or what orders they get from the government, because that's who they think they're serving, not the people. That country is completely upside down. But that's the sad reality. Barrow will keep going down this path to the point where he's going to start killing people, because that's the next thing. The only way he's going to think, that's the thing about tyranny. You don't see it until it slaps you in the face that you cannot do what you're trying to do. And by that time, it's too late. You cannot stop people from talking. So what are you going to do? Like he said, you know, he contradicts himself even in speech. Oh, we will arrest you and put you in one place. Even if a judge gives you or grants you bail, we will not going to accept that, because everybody has to be under the law in this country. What kind of stupid sense does that make? You're going to defy a court's orders, but you're telling people we all need to be under the law. How does that fit into each other? You essentially say we will break the law just to be able to go after the people we hate. But then you're telling them that everybody needs to be under the law. That's the craziness that this guy has in his head. And he thinks he can get away with it. Like I said, he lives in the 5th century BC, or however long ago, I don't know, 30,000 BC. When he talks, he feels like, oh, I have power, I'm going to use it. Since when does oppression work on people? If that was the case, Pharaoh would still be there. Or at least Egypt would still be ruled by his dynasty. You cannot force people a certain way. Like they say here, give me liberty or give me death. Essentially, that's a human, it's a human condition. It's an inalienable right for people to be free. Even the God who created us gave us that freedom to choose whether to believe him or not to believe in him. Whether to follow the path he laid out for us or not to follow the path. That's our freedom to choose. So who are you, a little man from nowhere, saying you're going to stifle people's rights and liberties because you don't like what they say? Just like the UDP press release said, with our bare hands, and by our, I mean talking about Gambians, with the bare hands, they moved a dictator who has tanks and anti-aircraft weapons. Because why? Use your heads, words. The world is changed by words. That's why they say the pen is mightier than the sword. Over 1,400 years ago, up to now, we say we are a majority Muslim country. Why? Because we had the word and we followed it. That's what we do. We talk to people. Like Jaliba said, we'll talk people, convince them to see the truth, because deep inside all of us, we have a predisposition to follow what's true. So when we reveal it to people, because people try to put on blinders, you know, oh, we're from the same ethnic group, I'm going to, you know, support him. We're from the same region, I'm going to support him. You know, my sister is married to his brother, I'm going to support him. Or I'm going to go along with this. But deep down, you know it's wrong. And you only need somebody to prick your conscience to tell you this is wrong for you to change your mind. That's why people, you know, jump from one political party to the other. In our part of the world, it's basically, you know, who gives you money and stuff. But you also see people who convert from one religion to the other because they are convinced. Or people who completely abandon religion because they are convinced of a different narrative. It's all words. That's it. If you have the truth that you think you're standing on as the president and the ruling party, when people come out and say, Barrow, and you know it's not true, sue them to court. That's what the courts are for. Or send your lackeys to come on the radio and defend it. But you cannot do either of those. Now you're talking, oh, try it and see. That didn't stop Yahya Jammeh from, you know, being in exile in Equatorial Guinea. Couldn't even come to his own mother's funeral. And he's probably never going to be able to see where his mother's final resting place is. Why? Because he thought he had power. And he abused people. It doesn't matter how long it takes. We will keep that fight. And at the end of the day, whoever assumes power after you, it will be a win. Because the Gambia doesn't deserve you, or, you know, your treasonous bunch like Fabakary Tombong and Sidi, what is his name? That guy. Sidi Njai. I don't even like to say his name. And I don't know why they call him Honorable Deputy Speaker or whatever. I don't have any personal contact with any of the UDP National Assembly members currently. But I hate it when they call that guy honorable. I don't even know whether they know what the meaning of honorable. Who is under any obligation to call those people honorable anything? So, it's our country, it's our people. You know, people always wonder, why do you talk about these kinds of stuff? It's either you completely disconnect from the Gambia so that none of these issues will find you, or you do something about it. And that is what we're trying to do. I went to Gambia in 2019, and I took my sister to go get some chicken around Westfield. I saw him in there. I was going to attack him. That's how much I detest that guy. I would even go as far as saying I hate him. But I don't know what prevailed on me. That didn't happen. I don't like that guy one bit. So the other issue is IGP apply Sanyang. You know, when we said it during the campaign, people were like, oh, you're threatening people with their jobs and stuff like that. If you're not going to do your job right, you don't deserve to be there. Apply Sanyang and his police administration. When we say the police, that's who we're talking about, the people who give the command or accept the command from State House and pass it down to the juniors. Those people are just executing their duties. Although they have some blame also, but the bulk of the blame, when we say Gambia Police, that's who we're talking about. The Inspector General of Police, the Deputy Inspector General of Police, the Commissioner of Operations, or whatever it is. They know what the law is, but they go ahead and follow the directives from State House, even if it violates the law. Why? Because they want to keep their jobs. All these things will be accounted for. We'll have our books. Every time there's an instance of abuse against any citizen, it will be recorded. And when a new commission is set up, that... Sorry, a call was coming through. When a new commission is set up, that commission will look into those affairs and they will have to account for it. So like I said, we're trying to figure out what time is going to work best, and it's already getting late here. It's almost 8:30. So we'll come back on Saturday to delve more into all the issues that are going on. But essentially, Barrow has made a declaration that Gambians will not have any rights in that country, and that's what he is determined to do. We're going to push back and let him know that that is not going to happen in the Gambia again. Whatever it takes, people are going to stand up, people are going to fight back, and he cannot kill everybody, because that's ultimately what's going to happen. You cannot jail people enough to say that they're not going to talk. You jail Bora, everybody's up talking. The international media is picking it up. The National Human Rights Commission, I don't know what they're waiting for, but nobody is counting on them until they want to stand up and be counted. So how many people are you going to jail? That's not going to stop us. How many people are you going to torture? That's not going to stop us. How many people are you? How many people are you going to put in jail using I don't know, mercenary judges? Because people can be corrupted. I'm not pointing out to any specific judge saying this person is a mercenary or the other one is a mercenary now. But it's doable. When all that fails, what are you going to do? Kill people to scare us? How many more are you going to kill then? Because you cannot kill everybody. People will just keep coming. The only thing that's going to save you is do the right thing. It's as simple as that. Do the right thing. What the Gambian people elect you to do. And leave us alone. We're going to talk and we will talk. You cannot stop that from happening. Because that's our responsibility. We have to give alternatives to the Gambian people. Show them what you're doing wrong. So that when you come back to them to lie to them, they will see through the lies and choose somebody other than you. So you want to take this fight? We are ready for it. Like I said, it's the Gambia. We cannot turn our back on it. We cannot abandon it. As stressful as it is, we have to keep fighting, however long it takes. Democracy is always a work in progress. America, after 200-some years of being democratic and stable, had Trump. He come along like a wrecking bull trying to destroy every institution in this country. That shows you how fragile it is. So the American people just give up and say, you know, like, let's just give it to him. So that's what it is. Like I said, he gave us enough heads up. What Yahya Jammeh started in, let's say, you know, for argument's sake, in 2006 to 2016, that was after 12 years in power. Barrow wants to start in his first, I don't know, 5 years in power. So he has empowered people to know which direction he wants to go, and we know what worked in the past and how it's, you know, how we can modify it or fine-tune it to be better adapted to our current realities and the type of person that Barrow is, what we're going to use. In fact, everybody, I'm going to make a post tomorrow, everybody should go on the State House page. If they have a social media page on Facebook, on YouTube, on TikTok, it doesn't matter whether it's State House, Ministry of Justice, Ministry of Foreign Affairs, go on there. If you can post a picture of Bora, post it. If you can put free Bora, put it on there. If they don't allow you to post on their wall, wait for them to post something and go in the comment section and post it on there. Let us make it hell for them on these social media streets. because they can pretend like, oh, we don't know what's happening. Let's put it on their walls that we know it's the official page of those pages or of those departments, and then make them aware of it. The wall is on the side of truth. It's on the side of democracy. This whole thing in Ukraine is nothing other than the West saying they're standing up for democracy, whatever that means. So, like I said, inshallah, we'll try to be back on Saturday and then try to fine-tune this, have a regular time where we can come and address these issues. But the talking will continue. And, you know, the press release from the UDP has reassured us, let us be measured. Let us, you know, understand who we're dealing with and not give them any excuse to prove themselves right, because they are authoritarian and that's what they want to execute. Anything we do would be used as an excuse or justification for their heavy-handedness. Let us not give them that, but let us not also quit on Gambia, because there are people who are suffering in that country, and they, you know, like our religion teaches us, if you see wrong, remove it with your hands. If you can't, condemn it. If you can't, just detest it in your heart. We can talk. We will talk. So, Allah baraka suwa kut alma sudodia. Until Saturday, inshallah. We'll see you guys.